Heidi ho, everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean me and Marlon at the moment. There's nobody here. Are we too early, Marlon? No, of course we're not too early. We're on time, and I'm sure there'll be people rocking into the room very, very shortly, but I'm going to delay starting to talk about things until I do see people in the room, because that's just a little bit of work that I don't need to do, really, at the end of the day. I'll set up the rest of this conglomeration of equipment that I have here. I've actually literally just sat down and am completely disorganized this morning, for which I do apologize, but just the way it is, I'm afraid. Go away. All right. I think I've got that all happening. Righto. We're in the right room, Marlon. What's going on, mate? There seems to be emptiness all around me. To be the opposite of, what's that song? Wet, wet, wet. Love is all around me. Yep, indeed. All right. I might just talk amongst myself then. What I would normally do at this time. Let's go and do what I would normally do at this time. We would normally have a look at the pound versus the US dollar and see if it's worthy of our attention today. So let's do that, shall we? All right, what we're trying to do here, just getting a message through, and there's nobody to interrupt me, so why don't I just answer that? 2 seconds. Sorry, that question has to be answered, I'm afraid. Yeah, cool. All right, I've read the message. All good. Now, what are we doing? We're looking at pound versus the US dollar. Yes, indeed. Right. The range today is here and here, which is absolutely the low and the high of yesterday. Risk on that would be 102 plus 5, so 110, and bang, straight into the weekly pivot. So that just makes up my mind instantly, doesn't it? Why would I do that? That's a crazy thing to do. So answer no on pound versus the dollar for the breakout trade today. Righto, let's look around the grounds and see what I can come up with. Got a quiz later. I don't know if Ash has worked on any questions for the quiz, but I have, and there will be a quiz. If it looks like Marlon, you'll be the one to have to has to answer the questions. Oh no, here comes Catherine. Awesome. So I'll just repeat that we are not trading the pound breakout today. Hi, Catherine. Welcome, welcome into the room. It's you, me, and Marlon at the moment, having a very, very quiet old start to the session. But I will begin, and let's share the screen, shall we? Righto, pound versus the US dollar. We would normally look for a breakout of the range that was created from yesterday and thus far today. Oftentimes that means yesterday's range, because price is normally pretty much in the vicinity of the daily pivot, unless there's been a move, of course, in Asia session when we join just prior to London session, which is now. So what we're looking to do is trade a breakout either short or long, and the criteria is that we use that range, as I said, which is around about 102 pips today. And what we're seeking to do is pick up the momentum that is created by the opening of London session and seeking to get a breakout of the range. Now, danger, Will Robinson, to both sides here, because we're trading straight into an untested weekly pivot if we break out long, and we're trading straight into the immediate support level if we break out short. So that's a no on both counts for me. So that's just complete waste of time today. And I've got to say, over the last month or so, that has been a complete waste of time. There's been absolutely nothing setting up in that regard. So, g'day, Paul. How you doing, mate? Paul is on. I don't see. Oh, there we go. I couldn't see the questions for a second. Okay, so no pound US dollar, as I was saying. Ash, got your message. All good, mate. That's fantastic. Why wouldn't you? That's a fantastic scenario. So, absolutely. Ash will be joining me very, very shortly. Before he does, just an update on trades that I am in, that I am sadly in at the moment, I've got to say. Kiwi CAD is the first of them, and I don't know why I've got it. I know why I've got a fib on there, because somebody wanted to know. At the moment, we are in drawdown on this pair and waiting for price to come back and put us into profit. That may be difficult. The previous two bars on the daily chart, Tuesday and Wednesday, are pretty bullish, I've got to say. That said, we are still underneath a strong resistance area, and price does look a little bit keener to go south today. That's a good thing, and we'll hang on to that for now. Not as keen as I was, but nothing really has changed in terms of my analysis, which says to me that price has bounced off the top of this range, and we are seeking we've got a lower high, really. I'm seeking a lower low now, which of course is beyond where my TP1 is, which is that red line there. A lot of work to do to get into profit in this trade, I must say. I attempted to place an order yesterday, Aussie CAD long, based on this candle. And it was kind of a hedge on the Kiwi CAD short, really. But that's failed also. So the directional radar is askew at the moment. This one does look to be in trouble, I'd have to say. The Aussie, remarkably and ironically, I've been chirping for about 2 weeks, waiting for the Aussie to come off the highs, right? So we could actually trade a retracement. Well, look what we've got. And what am I doing? I'm trading in the opposite direction. Anyway, it's not over till it's over. We'll see how that continues a little bit later on. Of interest today, look, I've got a stack of things on my watch list that I think are potential trades or potential positions coming up. Here's one. Now, Euro Aussie, I've had 2 excellent exits in the past week or so. This is one of them, where we got into this trade on that bar on the daily chart, rode it all the way down to here, which is where we got out. And that's so far an excellent exit on Euro Aussie. Now, I did say at the time I'd be looking to re-enter this short if we got a setup. Now, we are potentially in a sell zone until this is broken, this trend line is broken. We've also got a confluence of the breakout area. So where we broke through the support level the last time we did, we are now on that area as well. So there is a nice confluence here. Don't know which way this is going to go yet on the daily chart, but smaller time frames is where I'll probably concentrate. And if I do see price get back underneath this trend line after it closes above it, then I would look to trade this short. This 4-hour chart may not give me that. If it just bounces cleanly off that trend line, which doesn't look like it will, but if it did and got underneath this trend line or this trade line, in particular, if it broke the daily pivot, came back and retested that area, that would be my signal to regain or re-enter the shorts. So I'm pretty keen to do that on Euro Aussie. The Aussie, of course, as I said, is cooling off finally, and that may present opportunities. This may be one of them, Aussie long after retracement. against the dollar and against a bunch of currencies may well be the go as well. But I do like this to go short again. And if we do get the opportunity, it'll probably come as a false break of resistance. Aussie Kiwi is another on the radar. And if I wasn't already exposed to the Kiwi, I would probably look. Oh, shut up. Cortana, you idiot. Didn't even call you. Go away.
She's trying to give you trade tips now, though.
Is she?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
That's the shot. I'm just explaining that I'm exposed and in drawdown on the Kiwi. Otherwise, I'd be looking to trade this short. Probably not just now.
Yeah.
But I do like that candle there. That's a beauty.
Yeah.
An entry underneath that makes sense.
Yes.
But it's the wrong time of the day for me. That really is a bit of a conundrum, because what happens at that time of day is the daily pivot actually comes to price rather than price going to the daily pivot.
Right.
Yes, I know it did in an instant here. That's true. But what I really like to see is something either in London session or in US session that goes back to the daily pivot to give us the true, if you like, daily pivot test.
Yeah.
So at this point, though I do love the candle, I think it's fantastic, I'm not sure we've had enough retracement either, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really come back and tested this area. I guess we have in terms of the same scenario that I just mentioned. When the market opens, it tends to do this, and I don't trust it. So I'd really like to see a pullback again before I got short this. I'd even like to see price get down to the monthly pivot, then come back to the weekly, give us the lower high that we seek, and then go short. Not so sure on the Aussie how far it can retrace. There's absolutely no reason to think that it can't continue on its merry way. It's been so strong for so long, but like I've been saying for 2 weeks, it has to cool off for a while, and I think we're probably seeing at the moment.
I'd agree with that, mate. I wonder whether last day of the month aspect is a potential kind of fly in the ointment. Markets have been incredibly hot recently, and I've got this short bias on the FTSE, and I've got to be honest, I'm still kind of I don't really have too much of a reason to change that bias. In many respects, price is kind of still going against me for sure, but I don't know. I think this, we've seen the markets kind of rocket to the upside off the back of a peace, the peace talks in Turkey, but those peace talks seem to be like fairly paper thin, and it's an interesting dynamic in the FTSE because the peace talks have promoted the move to the downside in the price of oil. Now, the biggest company in the FTSE actually has just changed for the day, but the biggest company tends to be Shell, which was one of the oil companies. BP is also a big company. Rio Tinto, Anglo America. So you've got the mining stocks as well, and where the peace talks may well kind of buoy quite a lot of the other stocks in the FTSE 100. Some of those stocks that may well be seen that some supply could come back into the market if there is a resolution of the conflict may well suffer, and they're so big. Those companies are so big, they may be enough to drag the FTSE just a little bit lower. So it's a fascinating dynamic about what may well happen to the FTSE specifically off the back of the peace talks. And I'm just seeing a little bit of toing and froing going on so far today. And the last day of the month aspect is, I think is a factor, and we'll talk about some of the numbers after you finish. But I do think that we need to be just a little bit more cautious today. And I have not hedged. I hedged a couple of days ago, just to kind of even things out a little bit, but I haven't hedged yet this morning, and I might have to, and I might still take it. but I think a bit of profit taking in these areas is probably likely, and that really leads me back to the point about the Aussie. As you said, the Aussie's been on such a good run. Does it kind of get to the end of the first, not only the end of the month, but actually this is the end of the first quarter? Do we actually see some of those positions start to be liquidated just because of profit taking, not because people are thinking let's go short, but it's a reduction of the longs rather than a trigger of the shorts?
Yes, probably profit taking.
Yeah.
One would think closing the books for the month on those particular trades. It makes perfect sense. And
you look at the Aussie Yen's a really interesting one for that, I think. And the interesting thing about the Aussie Yen, in actual fact, is that there is a situation where look at that bar. I mean, what we're looking at, this is the weekly.
Yeah, now so the daily.
And there's the daily. Yeah, I mean, the weekly bar is interesting, and I don't know what happens. Who knows what happens to that? But by tomorrow, it could change completely again. So Paul's saying same with the Aussie CAD, Kiwi CAD trades in the same vein. Yeah, I think it's one of those that you could probably. It's difficult to know whether you should sit it out or whether you should close those positions, because the likelihood is the Aussie will eventually go back to the upside. Whether it does here is a little bit questionable. We're seeing a little bit of a move from the Bank of Japan as well, because at some point, the devaluation of the yen does get a bit uncomfortable for the country. You know, they can't continue to allow it just to get out of control. And they've come out and they said, you know, that we are watching the prices. And since then we did see some downside in some of those pairs that are against the yen. And as I say,
Euro pound.
Aussie's an interesting one. Yeah, Euro pound's an interesting one as well. You know, seeing that push to the upside.
Don't remind me. Please don't remind me. This is one that we've been tracking.
Yeah.
You know, for 2 or 3 months with this broadening pattern, right? Yeah. And it's just done exactly what you expect it to do.
Yeah. Inverted head and shoulders. It was looking good, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I remember picking this one out.
Yep. And here we are at the target.
Where would have been the entry on this one, mate? Would it have been that down that bar, is it?
Would have been. I wouldn't have taken that because it's a full-bodied green candle. But yeah, I certainly would have looked for a pullback, and that would have come, hopefully, one would think, on there's that big bar there, I think. So it did pull back. Or is that it there? Hang on a second, I'll just get that right.
Catherine, I will absolutely do that for you, no problem at all. I just got a message from Catherine just to sort of have a look at some price action and see if we can explain the price action.
23rd. Right, let's have a look at that. 23rd is there. Yes, that is the bar, and there's the pullback. So, yes, there was an opportunity to get into that. And here it is for a slingshot trader. You could have used that trade line as well. So yeah, it's generally there. There it is on an hourly. That's the bar you want to trade, that one. Pick it up. Risk reward. Look at that. Wow. 16 pips gets you.
Now you're hurting yourself, mate.
145.
Yeah.
Look, mate, if you're not in front of the charts, there's very little you can do about it.
No, absolutely, yeah. And as you say, I mean, this is a bit of a frustrating one because I think we were talking about this for a little while, weren't we? The fact that it was
totally,
you know, potentially going to come down and create that inverted head and shoulders, which it did absolutely do. But yeah. What else we got?
That's just a bit more water under the bridge. We've got pound Swissy, and we've now looked at euro pound Swissy. Now you remember I just said the euro Aussie exit was a classic exit. So was this one. You'll remember that we traded this bar long, again against my grain, because it's a green-bodied bar. But it looked, and the analysis that I had was off the bottom of the range, higher low, and there was a clear profit area to the monthly pivot, which is exactly what we got. So then I saw this bar here forming, I think, on a 4-hour chart, and it looked so ominous. I just immediately moved my stops just under the open of that bar. So we actually got profit out of that, where had we not taken our first profit and moved our stop loss, we would have got hammered. So that, again, that was an excellent exit. But now the whole point of the exercise is that we are bang on this support level again. And this cycle, if you like, looks to have played out again, by my reckoning. When I draw a symmetry and see exactly what I saw on this side happen on that side, to me, it says the cycle's done. And we're at the bottom of the range. I'd definitely be looking for a higher low now. Got a clear double bottom. Higher low here makes perfect sense to trade it back to the top of the range. Now, whether that goes with anything in terms of fundamentals, I really don't know. But as you say, the war situation is ridiculous.
Yeah.
As I hear the news today, Putin has just made a mockery of the peace talks.
Yeah.
Whether that's an Australian slant on the actual, whether it's propaganda coming out of, because where I know the problem you've got. What do you believe?
Exactly, mate.
What do you believe?
Yeah, and this kind of leaves us in that position where it's almost best to believe what you need to believe. Well, when I say believe what you need to believe, I guess it's best to research what you need to research, just to kind of get you along with your day, because most of it is just, there's this one newspaper over here called the Daily Express, and whenever I see a pop-up post from the Daily Express, I just ignore it. Never ever open it. And there are certain outlets that I will tend to have more trust in. I don't trust them 100%, but I will have more trust in. But there's some of the others, there's just no point in reading it. There really is no point. So it's difficult to know.
We've been through that process before, where I've told you real life examples of people just get paid to write anything.
Yeah, they need
content. They don't have to research it. They just have to put something on the front page.
Yeah. And I think the thing with it, mate, is that how can they possibly know? There's headlines like, those close to Putin don't trust him. How do you know? How do you possibly? There's no way those guys are talking to anyone, because they get poisoned. So how can you possibly know? Unless you're in the room, then it's all conjecture, really. I guess who you can trust in some respects, not necessarily trust, but you can at least analyze the words from the leaders. What are they really suggesting? There's no point in analyzing the words from a journalist, but if you listen to what Biden says, you can at least analyze his stance, and because it's somebody that's within the inner circle. But the European Union seems pretty worried, and there was a story today that on the 2nd of March or something, there was 2 Russian planes that were carrying nuclear warheads flying over Sweden that were turned away from the Swedish border, and it's that kind of thing that induces some kind of panic. Now, I reading into the story further, Sweden haven't confirmed that. So who's coming up with this stuff? Is it true? Isn't it true? Maybe it is true, but still, it still seems to be relatively unsubstantiated. So it's impossible. It really is impossible.
It is. And look, it's in many respects, a lot has happened with the charts when war was declared or when he invaded, or when he had his military exercise, or whatever he calls it. The market's reacted as you might expect. But since then, and after it cooled down a little bit, we've seen the markets pretty much ignore what's going on over there.
Yeah, it really has. Yeah, really has.
Which is amazing, you know.
Yeah.
The market's risk for appetite, or the appetite for risk, it seems insatiable. It just does seem insatiable.
Yes. Well, we get these periods, don't we? Where
but then yes, the volatility is very, very difficult to handle though at times.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, that's another aspect. I mean, when you're done, mate, I'll show you some of these charts, and we can see what's suggested by all this stuff. Because, you know, as you say, the volatility makes things difficult, but the volatility in the last few sessions has just been dive bombing. It's just not there. The market's incredibly confident. Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, I haven't got much to go. We've spoken about the two disasters, Kiwi CAD and Aussie CAD. I'm looking to trade short as a false break of resistance. Pound Kiwi still at that point, right? So we haven't got a result yet, but this is now looking pretty interesting. Just to put you in context, if you haven't been following this one, this is at an absolute inflection point. The trend line is a little bit, you could have 2 or 3 versions of that. So you could be down here if you wanted to. It could look like that. But the point is, we are at that area in the chart where we need to pay attention. And one of 2 things is going to happen here. We will get a strong move from here eventually. When that is, I've got no idea. But that's why we need to pay attention. And if I were to see something like, well, even this one, I suppose, it's a horizontal level, but I'd still be okay with it. If it came up to here, this trend line's now no longer valid, so we need to get rid of it. And we'll use that one. That'll have to do. If we were to come back above this level here, or even this level here, which is this strong support level. Now, that's a cloud of a price, right? It's not an exact price. And that's the trick. You have to be aware of that. So you need to combine that with, you know, probably this little range in here. That's probably the area that you need to see false broken or broken retested, which we're currently seeing. So whether it's a retest or whether it's a re-entry is going to determine which way I go with this one. My bias is long, but I'm completely willing to trade it short if it were to set up. Now, to trade it short, I'd probably need to see a false break of resistance. To trade it long, I probably need to see a false break of support, which is possible from where we are right now. So I'm on full alert for Pound Kiwi, but there's nothing there to trade just yet. I've spoken about Aussie Kiwi. Euro Pound was spoken about, looking for that to turn around at some stage and trade it back to the short side. Pound Yen's too far gone at the moment. Cable, yeah. I've got to go to the dollar index to have a look at cable, really. And the dollar index is telling me this. We've got to wait. You know, it's similar to what I've just described on Pound Kiwi and Pound Swissy. We're at the bottom of a range, and we need to wait until price tells us what to do next. So it'll either break here and retest, suggesting that shorts is on the card, and that's a pretty clear target down to the monthly pivot, if that were to be the case. And again, going with my symmetry, if this cycle completes itself, then we're probably looking down here somewhere. Maybe there. So M topping pattern, shoot it down to 96-ish, around about that area there. If that is the play out, it may not, but that would be the way I'm thinking at the moment. Can't trade it from here, but if we got back up to here and maybe, don't know, a lower high, yeah, we've got a double top here. So if we got a lower high off that trend line, then that's probably a good place to short this, I would have thought. To buy it, I think I need to see far more information than what I've got. I can't just trade a bounce off here. That's a scalp, and I'm not a scalper. I wish I was, because I'd probably make a shitload of money bouncing, trading it off these levels. But I need to acquire that skill, and I don't have it. So I have to wait for something to confirm whatever is going to happen next. But the bias really looks to be short to me. So I'd be interested in trading the short off a resistance level. And the pound pairs are pretty much all at a support level at the moment. So look at them. I think they're worthy of our attention. Pound US dollar is a little bit different. So is pound yen, but that's a crazy pair. Everything's crazy against the yen at the moment.
Yeah, it really is.
But the Swissie's not. Kiwi's not. They're at good levels. So is the pound. So is the euro against the pound. I think something's going to happen with the pound in the not too distant future, whether it's continuation of weakness or whether it does catch a bid. Either way is possible at the moment, but the charts are absolutely in the right position for that. As far as the euro is concerned, look, we've got an untested daily pivot here, guys. So you know what I'm going to say next. I'm going to say I don't want to trade away from that. And if I have a look at the daily chart, it's telling me, just like the euro versus the pound, we're back inside this broadening pattern. And if you look at this on the daily chart, we got fair warning of this back here. And we spoke about this, where we come back inside the range. So back inside the broadening pattern and retested it. And entry there, stop loss there. You'd probably still be looking for a TP1, but it's making sense to me that now looks like it wants to go longer. I've got no idea why I know exactly why the euro is strengthening. It's on the back of these peace talks, I believe. So it's a fundamental move rather than technical, but the technical signal was still there as a false break. Can I really get interested in the euro long is the question. And the answer is going to be watch the dollar index, because it is at the level, which is, it's a proxy really for the euro dollar, but it's at the level that's telling me which way the euro goes next. And if we get the bounce here, then the euro goes short. If we get the break here, and that does complete, then the euro goes long and does fulfill, to my mind, this broadening pattern. So exactly the same as euro pound, could well get back up to here. And we've already had the signal, false break, re-entry, retest into there. So, mate, a lot of things to look at, frankly. I think there's huge possibilities with the pound in particular, because it is at those support levels, or in the case of euro versus the pound, at resistance. And I'll be looking at those very, very closely. I might even have a look tomorrow, which is against my religion, but we'll see how we go.
1st of April, yeah.
Yeah, my mother's birthday.
Is it?
Yeah, she was born on April Fool's Day.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, the 1st of April might it's a funny one, isn't it? When it's the 1st of the month, the 1st of the quarter, but the last day of the week. It's interesting dynamic that, and I don't know if it plays a part with trading or not. I suspect it probably does. Well,
we can do homework on that, right? We can just look at the 1st of April every year and see what happens.
Well, you'd almost have to look at the first day of the month, which falls
April,
on a Friday.
July. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah.
Okay, true. Which was a Friday. And listen, I know you don't like to talk about this because the quarter is over.
Yeah.
Right. The quarter is over today, and I don't know if this has happened to you before, but it warrants credibility or full kudos to you. You haven't had a losing day since the 1st of January, have you?
No. I've actually made money every single trading day this year.
Wow, that's awesome, buddy.
And I've got an 11% month this month as well, and it is, which is to be fair, mate, it's not what I really aim for. I'm just aiming to sort of like chip away. But I think because there was volatility, there was higher volatility in the market, it meant that I could stretch out my targets a little bit more. So yeah, really good month for me, Lewis. But it's been like that. The first month, I think it was about an 8%. Last month was an 11% month, and I've got another 11% month. And yes, we're winning money every single day, or making money every single day so far this year. Let's see if it continues, mate. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, obviously, I wanted to stretch out.
Okay, look, you probably don't want to take the credit for that, but obviously they're not flukes. You're putting it down to, in part, the volatility which you've been able to take advantage of because you've got wider targets.
Yes.
Have you changed anything else?
No, nothing else has changed. So I would have expected to make profit every day this year anyway, but maybe not.
Well, we always do, don't we?
Yeah. Well, that's always the target. Always the target is to make profit every day. I would be surprised if I would have made double-digit percentages every month. If it was just a normal year, I think it would have been closer to maybe 5% rather than 10-11%. I think that those numbers are just I'm very thankful of that. I'm very thankful that the market offered that up. I'm not particularly happy that why it offered it up. I would have much preferred some sort of trade spat, really, rather than a conflict. So yeah, I'd always sort of like look to try and make money every month. And the thing is, it's quite important for me I don't need to make money every day, but I need to make money the majority of the days, because I'm only trying to take little chunks, which is why the 11% month is so I'm so appreciative of it, because I'm only trying to make little chunks, really. So to get double-digit figures over the course of the first 3 months is pretty special, So I've had a good run, mate, and it's this is one of those things that because we say it on the courses. We always say don't expect to make money out of every trade, and there I go and do it. And it's like it's not going to be possible to make money out of it. I mean, if I ask me at the end of the year, mate, then I'll be be a different picture.
Mate, I'll be offering you shares in my bamboo plantation if you've still got that record at the end of the year.
Yeah. Do you know, it's one of those things as well that that this is where the psychology really has to get back under control, because there's there are two different I think two difficult mentality, two different states of mentality when you go into trading. First is the fear, where you're chasing. You're continuously losing, so you're chasing and chasing and chasing. And second thing is when you're winning, because then you start to possibly make mistakes because you are not respecting the fact that it was just one of those. You've got to say, look, it is just one of those periods. I'm not really expecting to make money every single day by the end of the year.
Yes, it's an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, it's an unrealistic expectation. I'm still looking, obviously going to be looking to be in profit by the end of the year, but I won't be expecting a double-digit figure percentage every single month and to make money every single day. It's just unlikely. And I've got to respect the fact that at this particular stage, what I've been doing is perfect for the market environment, but the market environment changes.
Yes.
Yeah, so we might have to readjust, and I have to say that also I think the market is starting to readjust. Just over the last few weeks, it has started to readjust. The fear has come out. We've been talking about the market is grinding. That's
what we just said.
Yeah, yep. So I probably will be aiming back down to the kind of 5 to 6% a month gains, maybe even 3. Whatever's on offer, I'll take. And it was just one of those things that's what's been on offer, and I've just managed to take advantage of it.
Good on you, buddy. All power to you. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you, mate.
And now it makes me think, I should be full-time trading again.
Yeah. Well, there's no question. There's still no question, mate, that our relationship on here and the way that we kind of discuss things is part of my success. I don't believe that I would have done this if I was on my own.
Yeah, look, trading buddies is a powerful thing, you know,
it
and
really
I don't
is,
mean
because
just this show. I mean, in general.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at different things to me, and you flag up different things to me, and it does kind of, you know, it starts to kind of cement certain things that I should move towards, or maybe sort of take me away from certain things that I shouldn't be doing. So
yeah, I'm sure after the show
sometimes
you say, what is that idiot talking about?
Yeah, but I suppose my point is that, yeah, you should be trading every day, mate, because I think you'd probably find some similar successes.
Well, I'd go back to the 30-minute charts like you do, you know, trade the smaller time frames, and time won't allow me to do that. But, you know, I'll get back there. Don't worry about that. I've just got probably 2 more years of slog here on the farm, and then I'm straight back into it.
Well, let's talk about. So Catherine's asking about price action. So let's see if we can get to price action now. Showing you the way that I trade, Catherine, is not potentially not going to help yet. You know, if you're sort of like still learning, it's probably not going to help just yet, because the way that I do things is slightly maybe it's a bit left field. You know, it's quite personal, the way that I sort of approach the market, and it won't be the same way you do. And also, I'm trading the FTSE, so my approach is really about the FTSE. It's not about currencies. Yes, you could put it onto a currency, but you'd have to go into the detail of that particular currency even before you open up the charts. So for me, price action is important, but it's not the leading decision that's not leading my decision to trade in one way or the other. But let's talk about price action first, and then you can continue to ask questions. And if it does lead you to want to trade the way I do, then I'm quite happy to kind of go into even more detail on that. But let's start with the first thing. So the first thing is that the markets will tend to trend, or they'll tend to range. Now, we need to know, forget the bars. To start with, forget what the bars are doing. That is detail. The bars, the little bars that might trigger you into a trade, is the detail. You're going to do that last. What you are looking for, the simplest and most attractive pattern for many people, not for everybody, but the simplest, most attractive pattern is going to be, why is that on that? Let's do this. Oh, I see what that's done. Hold on. I don't want that. What I want is that one. This one here. So what you want is this. You want the markets doing this, and this here being your resistance level. And then when it breaks through that resistance level, for it to come back and test here is ideal, and then move away from there. This is the most attractive move that you can get with a price action. So this is the action of price. What's the action doing? The price is moving higher, and it's coming back to test exactly where it had to break out from. So this is the ideal. This would be the ideal pattern when you are looking to trade. Now, we know that doesn't happen all the time, but if we can get this, we've got the simplest thing, because we are basically trading, we're buying here, and potentially we might well be taking profit here. And when it comes back, we're buying here, and we're taking profit when it gets to resistance again. Okay, that's the simplest. Or you're just moving stops up. That's the other way you can do it. But you know, trade management is a different thing. Let's just keep on the price action. So that the first thing is the trend. Okay, so that's a trending market. Now that has got variations. A trending market might end up doing this. That's still trending. The price action is still going higher. So as long as we recognize to start with what direction price is going in, then we're at an advantage. Okay. Now, during all this stuff, obviously, things like that can happen. And then all of a sudden it sort of does this again. And this is the sort of chart really that becomes difficult. And this is the sort of price action which confuses traders, because they're not getting that really nice sweeping move up and sweeping move down where it tests where it came from. So that's the confusing ones. You can also get something like this. And this is a range. but these are all trends. These are all sort of like showing you that the general move of price is going up. So you know you want to be a buyer. Now, the question then comes in, where do you buy? And that's where people will part ways. You know, I will try and buy here, regardless of what the bar looks like. Jeff might want to see something which it comes away from and then comes back into, and he'll look to trade here. You know, wave rider traders will look for something where it comes back and gives you some sort of bar to trade in. So there's lots of different ways that you can trade after you've deciphered the direction, but you've got to determine what direction is first. So that's the trend. Now, what can also happen is that you know, that this could go on like this. It could go up, come down here, and then go higher, but still be in an uptrend because it hasn't broken the lows. So as soon as it breaks this point, then it becomes in question. It doesn't mean that the trend is necessarily changing. It may not, but it is in question, which is why the nicest way is when it goes up and it comes nowhere near its previous low. It just kind of does that, because these areas are where stops tends to be sitting. You know, so these are the areas we really want to put our stop loss with entries anywhere along the line here. So you don't really want it to come anywhere near your stop loss because it gets a bit spooky. But so that's the cleanest way we look at it. Now, if we sort of like now start to look at charts, and we get examples of some of the cleaner ones. Now, if we look at this on the Aussie CAD as an example, we have the similar pattern as I was just talking about, but this time it is. Oh, I'm going to have to move this over here. It shouldn't matter to you. Right, that's going to do this. We'll come over here instead. So this is going in the opposite direction now. Now, this is the same sort of thing as I was just talking about. The price comes down, breaks this low here, comes back, doesn't get anywhere near this high up here. Now, this is really what we're after. Let me just thicken this line up. So it's coming down, it's coming back. It breaks through this low here, it comes back, reaches it again, breaks through the low here, it comes back. Whoops. It comes back again. So that is the ideal. That's the trend we were just looking at. The price action is to the downside. It's got nothing to do with the bars. It's just the general move is to the downside. So if you can pick these up, then it's a really simple way to make money. But of course, they don't happen all the time. Otherwise, trading would be really, really easy. And it is, you know, as we know, it's not easy. It's simple, but not easy, as people always say. I don't even know whether that's even true, but it is not going to provide us with that, unfortunately. So if we start to look through the charts now, let's see what the price action is telling us about the current scenario. Now, if we look at the pound, the Aussie CAD. Now, Jeff, you may or may not want to get involved in this, but if you look at the price action here, what is that telling you about the trend here, Catherine? What is this currently telling you about the trend? So that's what you got to ask yourself. When you look at this chart, does it say, I'm confused, that's a downtrend, or that's an uptrend? Or you could say it's in a range. You could say range, confused, uptrend, downtrend. Uptrend. Okay. So to me, this bar is broken to the downside here at this stage, and I understand why you'd say that it, you know, because of what's happened here, that it, you know, it comes back down here and possibly goes up. But there's too much in here. There's too much in here which suggests to me that this market is just a little bit confused. That doesn't look very clean to me. Would you agree with that, Jeff? You're muted.
Yeah, there's a clear indication of that with the last 4 bars. And if you understand what those bars are saying, like go back 4 bars,
yeah,
that bar tried to go up and failed.
Yeah.
The next bar tried to go down and failed. The next
Yeah.
bar had no idea what it wanted to do. And the current bar is trying to go down after it had tried to go up. So every single candle there is telling you it's got no idea what's going on.
Yeah. So this is confusing, and I get, you know, what Jeff's saying is the tails show us that the price did try and get up, and then it was pushed down. This one pushed down, it pushed up, and it didn't know. So this is when we get into a little bit of detail. The actual move generally, okay, I see what you mean. This here is going up. Yeah, I grant you that, but it's not clean. It's not like this area here. This area here. We had this point here. It broke through. It came back again, and it broke through here, and came back again. It broke through there a little bit, came back again, and then that. Now this whole bit here is just a little bit confused. It's not nice and gentle, which is really what you want. You know, that these big bars here and these big aggressive moves. It is expressing high volatility, and when there's high volatility, what will tend to happen is the bigger players will just move out of the way. They'll be like, look, do you know what? We just don't know. Forget it. I'm not interested in trading that, so I'm moving out the way, unless they're already in. They don't want to be risking their clients' capital on situations and scenarios like this, and then that. It just becomes too difficult. So I would suggest that the Aussie CAD is relatively untradeable right now. Now this would be, let's have a look with the Swissy. Now this one is a little bit nicer in many respects. What could be happening here is this could be a retracement. So this point, now it have to retrace to that point. So at this point, we are looking for a bar that holds it. You know, something which would suggest that there's a potential to go up. Now, if that one fails, then it's just one of those things. You just say, you know what, it was wrong. It didn't come back to exactly where it came from and give me a nice signal. So, you know, or it did, but the trade ended up not working out. Fine. Aussie Yen. Now, this is problematic again. The Aussie Yen is definitely in an uptrend. Okay, that would be granted. The problem is we don't have the nice clean stuff again. Breaks through, comes back again. Breaks through, comes back again. It didn't quite come back as far, but it did come back again. Breaks through, comes back again. This has happened. And when this kind of thing happens, this kind of thing can happen. So again, a difficult one to look to trade. This is much nicer over here. Look, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then it starts, and then you get the big explosive move. As soon as you see a big explosive move, these are areas that that people will take profit, because you know what, they've just made a whole bunch of money in a very small period of time in one session. So inevitably, some people will be coming out the market. So those big moves are the ones that you sort of say, okay, now I need to see some pausing, a pausing of the price action. Let the pattern get into a range and then make a decision. Don't try and trade this one, or I wouldn't anyway. I shouldn't say you don't, but I wouldn't try and trade this one. This one now looks like it's a bit overcooked. This one looks better. You know, again, it's a little bit difficult, but it looks better. It has gone back and come and retrace. So this is in retracement mode. So if you get a signal somewhere around about here, around about the monthly pivot, as Jeff was saying, coming down there, then it would suggest that it's going to the upside. It's a little bit aggressive, but it's still not at this point stopped at an area that it broke out from. You know, we didn't get that red bar anywhere along here. So it's not suggesting at this stage that we are in a downtrend. It just suggests that this is a retracement to there and then potentially going up again. This is a case in point of what was just illustrated with the yen, the Aussie yen. This is a point it needs to break out from. It breaks out, comes back a bit far, but it doesn't take out this low. There's the other point it needs to break out from. It comes back to there, bounces again, high. So look at that, a big explosive move to the upside. Now this becomes really tricky because people are expecting it. It now could come back and test the level it broke away from. It doesn't quite, and then it goes. So this is almost too difficult again. No, exactly, Catherine. It's not that you don't. I'm not saying that you don't take action on retracement every time. I'm just saying that that wouldn't be the way that I would approach the market personally, because I think that's where people get confused. I think that if you can look for a move that breaks away from here, like this, goes up. There's a little bit of support there. It breaks down the support, comes up again. There's some support there. It goes down, comes back to near that support line. Another support line there, which it breaks down from, so you can still go short. But then when it breaks this support, it doesn't come back at all. There's the sort of, it's so far away from there that is likely eventually to come back and test that area, which it does eventually, and actually creates a little uptrend. So it becomes difficult again. Then you get this resistance point that it breaks down from, comes back again. It goes a little bit high, but it doesn't break this high. There's the support line there, breaks down hard. And that to me, because it doesn't come back far enough, I just wouldn't be interested. That's just not the way that I would be explaining to somebody who's starting to trade that they should go and try and approach the market. Because at least when you are looking at this point of support, it comes back and supports it. At least when you're looking at that, at least when it breaks down, you know the price that you're looking for is retracement. When this happens, how are you possibly going to pick that point out? I mean, yes, you could say there's a level over there, but that starts to go, then you're starting to go, okay, is it one of those levels or is it one of those levels? Is it a sort of a level that was a month back, or am I looking at the most recent? So I think this, to start with, look at the most recent price action, but the most recent sort of break and retest, and then you'll pick up the cleanest trends. That would be the way that I would teach it personally. That's the word. Sorry, that's the way that I would encourage you to start with. Anything to add to that, Jeff? I mean, obviously we've got trade lines and trend lines that we can add after as well. But that's the way I would sort of like start understanding what price action is doing, those more gentle moves.
Yeah, look, the only thing I would add would be confusing, because I don't trade price action per se. What I trade is reversals off support and resistance, really.
Yeah.
That's really all I'm interested in. I'm trading ranges more than anything, right? So if I see something that's a bounce level, that's where I pay attention. Otherwise, it really doesn't interest me. I'm not interested in chasing trends. I'm only interested in when the trend, which really at the end of the day for me is a roadmap to the next range.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the trend to end.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think I'd really add confusion.
Because you're looking for something different, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm looking for pretty much the reverse of what you need to know about price action. What you've said, you need to know about price action.
Yeah, which is
otherwise you can't understand it.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, look at this, Catherine. What's going on in this box? Look at oil. I think we've talked about it. Now, this doesn't mean that people can't trade oil. Of course they can. But as a trader that's just starting, what are you seeing here? Is this an uptrend or a downtrend? How would you? Okay, I thought when the price dives down, then we can take profits on short. Oh, I see. Yeah. You can do that. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, you can take profits on the short. Yeah. I mean, this is. I mean, now you're talking strategy. Now you're talking sort of like money management and strategy. If we are just talking price action, I'm just saying that the way that you would read the price action and the kind of things that you want to get into are, I think this area here, this whole area here is a mess. And I would say that anybody that's trying to trade that, particularly if you're new, you are going to give yourself a headache. This breakout retest. There's a resistance. Breakout retest. Breakout retest. It didn't come quite far enough to that one, but it did on this one. Breakthrough, retest. Breakthrough, retest. Breakthrough, retest. Breakthrough. Gets a bit low, but it doesn't get down to this low here. And then there's the explosive move. As soon as that happens, then this whole thing is done, in my opinion. If you're starting out, then now you're looking at, is this going up? Is this going down? Well, this is, and the only reason that price does all this stuff is that there is something fundamental going on with this particular product, which makes people way over speculative, you know, and this is to do with the Ukrainian conflict. So as soon as all this stuff is going on here, I mean, this is all speculation, of course, that this whole move here is speculation as well, but it's a lot more gentle and it's a lot more to do with should oil, you know, generally be a better price. Nobody could see this coming. So when this happens, then you take profit and you get out of the way and let it cool down, let it calm down. Let it calm down and figure out what it's going to do next. So to me, oil is untradeable. I wouldn't want to pick it, because here, when it breaks down at this point, it looks like it's coming back here and we're going to continue to the downside. But it didn't do that. It goes to that point. And not only does it come to that point, but it breaks the high, suggesting that it should then go to the upside. But it doesn't do that. It decides to break this low. And now it's suggesting it's going to go to the downside. So right now, we'd be 3-4 trades to, you know, to the bad, and still not sure whether it's going in that direction. And that's why this stuff is the stuff we try and avoid. You know, want to get out of that. Indicators are really, really good. Yes, it's too erratic. You got it. Yeah, exactly. Way too erratic. We want the gentle stuff. The indicators are really good, but I would suggest only using indicators when you have got an idea of what you think is going to happen from the price action. So if you thought that from the price action, there would be a higher high and a higher low, does the indicator suggest it? Well, that does, and that does. Do I have an area? Yes, I do. So I can go. There's another breakout. Does the indicator suggest it? Well, yeah, the indicator that we've been looking at is suggesting that it's going to go in that direction the whole time. But this is just, I mean, even the indicator is suggesting, I don't know what's going on. But to be honest, you don't need that because the price action tells you that. So yeah, looking for price action that you can recognize is the first thing. Don't worry that you're looking at price action and going, I don't get it. The reason you don't get it is the chart is probably a mess. So you just sort of go, well, forget it. I don't need that. And if you can't find any that you recognize, that's because it's the wrong period for your approach. And there's no problem because the right period will come along again. You know, as I said to Jeff earlier, I'm going to have to change my approach now because to me, the market is adjusting. So now I'm going to have to adjust with it. Now, if you don't have that experience to do that, it doesn't matter. You will acquire it, but you won't acquire it if you try and dive into everything. You know, you just have to sort of have confidence and say, it's just I don't know that yet. And what I'm looking for is this. And if that doesn't appear, I'm not trading because I don't understand this yet. You will find the ones that you can understand, I think, enough. But you might have to sit on the sidelines for a bit. Yes, they draw manually. Yeah, I'm just drawing those manually. Yeah. Gold is something similar. Actually, Jeff, check this out. I mean, you know, I who knows what happens here, but we're at the end of the month. Look at this on silver. I mean, is that end down there by the end of today? That's going to look pretty. And again, who knows what I would not trade this stuff. It's just a mess.
Now it's right in the middle of the range.
Yeah.
And who knows what happens next?
Yeah. And this is the problem, you see. People will look at this and go, oh, look, there's a high test bar, or there's a bar that I recognize. Who cares? It's nowhere. It doesn't have a clue what's going to happen. You know, we can't have a clue what's going to happen yet. I mean, it might not end up there by the end of the day. It might look completely different. But right now, that is just too confusing. I mean, this whole chart is kind of confusing. So you don't trade it. Just move on to something else. Gold. Probably relatively similar. I mean, it's just in a range, and it's very, very difficult to trade. The way that I would want to trade it, if I was going to trade the range, is I'm going to find the bottom of the range and see if I could find a way to get in down here, because at least then I've got a chance of a decent risk to reward. But trading it round about here in the range, it could go either way. So just, you know, there's just no point in that stuff.
But to me, that's potentially a gorgeous chart that looks absolutely promising to me.
You've liked it for a while, haven't you? Yeah,
I have. Yeah, I'd love to see it rally now and not take out that double top. And as soon as I saw it not take out that double top with a reversal bar, there's your entry there for a short.
Yeah.
But conversely, if it gets down to that little double bottom sitting there on the bottom of that range and comes off that and gives you a higher low, then you've got something to trade to the upside. But at the moment, it's just all guesswork.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose that's the point. Oh, you're welcome, Catherine. I mean, I think that's the thing, isn't it? We sort of like, we get thrown into this industry, and we are, you know, basically we're given a specific approach. And the thing is, there are so many variables in the market that particular approach may only appear once every week or once every month. Who knows? Or it might just appear for 3 months, and you think, yeah, I've nailed this stuff. Then all of a sudden, the market dynamic changes, and you don't see that particular pattern again for the next 6 months. You know, that's just the nature of the beast when you learn a specific approach. You're taking the market one way, but the market will go in multiple directions and give you, throw up multiple messages. So your way may not line up with the messaging that's been thrown to you. So yeah, that's the point, is that you don't have to, you don't avoid. Jeff always says it's not compulsory to trade, and that's what he means. He means don't trade the messy stuff. Don't trade it if you don't understand the picture, because you and be okay with it that you don't understand the picture. Not a problem, because the picture's changed. Probably it doesn't quite line up yet, but it will again. It will line up again. You just have to wait for that to come round again. You know, you can't you basically can't travel on every single journey that the market is providing. It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
No, but what you've just explained to people is really something they should aspire to. And most people do exactly the reverse of what you've just explained. They'll grab hold of an indicator and rely on that indicator as a trading tool. It is a trading tool, but it's a layer. It's not the trigger to trade. If you understand what the market is actually telling you through the candles or through the bars or whatever you want to call them, and where they are in situ and what they mean in situ, like we've just discussed, there's some lovely bars sitting in there, but the market is not necessarily ready to react in the way you may think. And you're told that by the preceding, well, in this case, maybe 20 bars. They're telling you the market's not ready to move just yet.
Yeah.
And if you can grab hold of that concept and lead with that, then look to apply something else. And as Ash just said, if the chart looks like SH1T, change the chart or move away.
Yeah.
I just keep saying it because it is so true. It's not compulsory to trade, and you just said that. I've got a quiz.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
It's only a short one.
Okay.
It's only a really short one, but it is on point. and we need to be on point, I think, because next week John comes back, and I don't want to throw any curly ones at you like we did last time. This is pretty much the way it should be. You need to see this screen, I think.
We haven't got any screen just yet, mate. You're not sharing.
Yeah, I'm probably going to give you the answers.
Okay.
No. Have I given you the question, not the answer?
That's the question, yeah.
Cool. So what's the answer, guys? And you put this in the chat box, and there is a pretend prize at the end of it.
Ooh.
How many central banks released their rate statements this month? Everyone's diving for the Forex fact. I'm going to put the answer up before you can get to there.
I think it's probably
3, 4, 5, or 6. Pretty simple. Have we got any answers? I can't see the chat box.
I'll put in D. I'll put in C. Oh no, I've just done that to Lewis. Sorry, Lewis. I think I'm going to have to tell you. I think D. I think it's D is the answer.
Has anyone else put answers in?
No. We don't seem to be as popular as John.
Well, I can understand that.
Yeah, me too.
I can't even see your answer because you gave it to Lewis, did you?
I gave it to Lewis. Yeah, Lewis has got my answer.
And your answer was?
D, 6.
That was also my answer. But I think I'm wrong.
JPY. I mean, to be honest,
yeah, JPY is not in there.
No, it's not.
There were actually 7.
Yeah, I thought there was, mate, but I thought maybe you'd researched it.
You know when they did this quiz?
Yeah.
About 15 minutes before we started. if there's a right answer, it could be a fluke.
Yeah. Okay.
Catherine, I can see your question.
What about the Kiwi? Didn't they do it this month as well?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, definitely not. It's 7.
Okay.
So there you go. The answer is 7, which must be E. There must have been. I missed out E.
E. Gotcha.
Obviously. Next question. Which country's rate is the highest as a result of those announcements?
Oh, now I believe it is. Oh, is it A or D? I think it's.
And these are the things we should know, and that's why I asked the question. Because
I'm sure it's D.
Once upon a time, in the land of trading, the interest rate differential used to mean a whole lot. Lately, it doesn't seem to mean that much, but it'll come back. There'll be a time.
I've put D for that one, mate.
When the US dollar is worth, when the Aussie dollar is worth $5 US, which will happen one day. The US dollar is on the outer, guys. It's about to go crash. Not sure when, but the answer is not D.
Oh,
the answer, in fact.
I thought D.
You live there.
C. They're at 0.75%.
That's right.
Yeah, but
the
Canada
USA
at
0.5. No, they're not.
Hold on a minute.
They're at 0.5.
Hold on a minute. What's going on here?
Oh, this could be my second wrong answer in a row.
7.5 for the pound. Oh yeah, Canada. Oh no, do you know what? It's the Kiwi that are at 1%. Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, 2.5s and 0.75. Okay. Down with you. All right. Apologies.
I got one right.
You got one right. Yeah.
There's one each, right?
One each. Yes. Yeah.
And I asked the questions. Shouldn't I be the one? Shouldn't I be 2? Right. Third question. Oh.
C.
Didn't I just ask that?
C I'm going for.
Yay, you got that right. Did I go backwards or something? There we go. Which 2 countries released their annual budgets this week?
Oh, I'll tell you who it is. I know it's either B or C. It was annual budget. I think it's C.
Lock it. You want to lock that in?
Yeah, I'm locking in C.
Okay. See, I hope I put C. Yeah, I did. Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And didn't do much for the Aussie. It hasn't done anything for the Great Britain pound either.
No, it hasn't. No, I think both basically came out and said, let's kick the good stuff to next year.
Oh, no. Australia, when you say good stuff, the Australian federal government has just unleashed a fiscal stimulus like no other.
Oh,
They've just poured truckloads of money into the economy.
right.
Again.
Right.
And I think that's why that's one of the reasons the Aussie's coming off a bit.
Right.
So they've actually got almost a QE, a mini QE.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think everyone who doesn't earn $126,000 a year gets some one-off cash payment and something else. They've just cut the fuel excise in half.
You know what, mate? I mean, I think that expresses probably quite poignantly the difference of the state of the economy of Australia versus just about everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're in a much better position.
I still don't know that they can actually fund that. I think it's still coming from borrowed money. So,
right.
Yes, the economy is ticking along nicely, but it's got a long way to catch up to the COVID stimulus stuff, which was, just like every other country, was outrageous in the amounts that they were pouring into the economy.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason is the federal election is next month. So it's a pork barreling. So they've just given,
of course,
they've given everything, right?
Right.
That's what it's all about. Oh my God, trading session. That must be the end.
Oh, well,
yeah,
there's a very nice quiz, mate. Very to the point.
That's one of my little training modules there. Okay, probably don't need to see that.
That's
End slideshow. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Well, it was just a little something, wasn't it? Look at Euro Aussies coming back. Okay. Oh, so don't tell me this is the bounce. Looking for a lower high after this happens. Okay, happy days. So we might be in a position to trade in the morning. We shall see. If we are, for those of you who are in the Telegram group, I will post those particular scenarios, and we'll go from there.
Brilliant, mate. So you're looking at euro pound for a potential short.
Yes, but I've got to see a lot more price action than what I'm seeing at the moment. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks as always to the guys in the room, and I guess maybe some of the confusion for people in the room is that they're watching two people trade that's been completely against the way they initially learned. So
yes.
I don't know how we can help with that, but if we can, if you've got specific questions, maybe that's the thing to do, Catherine, as well. If you're in next week and you've got an idea about a chart, let's have a look at it and see whether we would say, just quite simply, we won't overanalyze it. We'll just say, is it in a trend? Is it showing the no problem, Catherine. You're more than welcome. And we'll just have a look to see whether it's in a trend, whether it's clear, or whether it's unclear, and where we describe it as a mess.
You know how I learned charting, really? Well, I did a technical analysis course, like most people do. And about 12, 13 years ago, maybe 13 years ago, I was in a similar scenario to what we're in now. There was no Zooms or anything like that. It wasn't live on YouTube, but it was in a meeting room. Go-to meeting. Yep, go-to meeting would have been one of those. And every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not Friday, this guy who was my mentor with the core strategy that I still trade, he challenged us to put our chart, our trade lines. Actually, no, he had trend lines. I made trade lines out of those trend lines, right? So he challenged us every day to put up our charts. And I think there were probably only 2 of us out of a room full of 50 who would do that every single day. And that's how I learned to actually do what I do and use the structures that I actually do, because he would critique that every single day.
Yeah.
And he would say, look, that's a good thing, but I would do it this way, or whatever the case may be, until it came to a point where he actually adopted the lines that I was using.
Wow.
Which became trade lines. And that's where trade lines came from.
Right.
And I should have bloody patented them then.
Yeah, you should have done, mate.
It is what it is. So I would encourage you to do exactly that and pick one chart, right? And it doesn't matter who you show it to, that's a qualified or professional trader. If it's aligned with their strategy, I suppose that helps. But draw up a chart, one chart. Maybe it's euro dollar, maybe it's gold, maybe it's whatever it is, and present that to somebody like Ash or myself in this room, where I'm too happy to do that and show you what we think versus what you have attempted to do. And I think over time, and it doesn't take long, you will have a very, very clear understanding of where you need to be looking to find trades. I think that really is the thing that kickstarted me and gave me a strong understanding of what certainly support and resistance areas meant and what to do when price arrives at those. So, pardon me. Every Monday and Thursday, I'm sure Ash and I are willing to do that.
Yeah, we certainly are, mate. Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll try and sort of we'll try and do a clean chart of the day if possible. Maybe we'll see if we can adopt something in, but just keep asking questions, guys. That's the main thing. We can help you if we know what the problem is, I think.
Yeah.
But have a great weekend. Trade safe. Look for the right stuff, and stay out of trouble.
Yep. Well, it's probably out of the question, but anyway, I'll do my best, mate. Thanks for being me trading buddies.
Yeah, me too, mate. Thank you so much. And,
everybody, very, 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 very educational. And have a great weekend yourself, and we'll catch up on Monday. If you got 2 seconds after this, I'll catch up with you on Skype.
Sure thing.
It'll only take 2 seconds. Everybody else, have a great weekend. We'll catch you next week. Thanks, Marlon, for looking after us. Bye-bye for now. You're welcome, Catherine.